All right, welcome, welcome, welcome to Restorative Night. Hooray! I don't know about you guys, but after our convention, I'm feeling very worn down and just like exhausted. So when I was planning for this class, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice, juicy class where we get to relax and we really can sort of settle in to the present moment and find some ease. So that's the focus for tonight is finding ease in the present moment. Because let's face it, our day-to-day lives, we're carrying stress, we're worried about the future, we're dwelling on the past, and it doesn't matter if it was 15 minutes ago or it's, 20 years down the line, our brain likes to take us on these little adventures, which often just keeps us in this heightened state of awareness and it stresses our bodies out. So after our convention weekend, I'm like, yeah, we need to just. So we're going to basically use some mantras or affirmations to kind of help us come into the present moment and relax. When we do this, it creates space for healing, clarity, inner peace by regulating the nervous system, enhancing our mind body awareness, reducing the mental chatter, and just cultivating this nurturing feeling that, of self care. So, that is what we're going to do. So let's find our way onto our backs. So we're going to take a Shavasana first thing and make it as supportive as you need. So have your props, whether you want to bolster under the knees, if you want to have a blanket cover the body, take your time to really settle into it. Maybe close the eyes and find stillness on your mat. And tune into the breath. Just notice the rise and fall of the chest as we fully arrive on the mat in this moment. And then notice what your body is telling you. So maybe your body is noticing that there's some tension, maybe in the hips, maybe in the hands, maybe in the shoulders. But also notice the areas that are feeling relaxed, at ease. Allow yourself to rest and receive tonight's practice. With each breath, allow yourself to soften and surrender. Now we're going to practice a little bit of breath work, pranayama. So we're going to do what's called the extended exhale breath. It's also kind of known as the 2-to-1 ratio breath. So we're going to inhale for 4 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for 8. So when you're ready on your next inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then continue to do that on your own at your own pace. What this is doing is activating our parasympathetic nervous system. So let's think rest and digest. So we're kind of unplugging the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight and flight. Just do that breath work for a few more breaths. And if at any time you decide, you know what, you don't want to do that, you can go back to a normal breath, normal deep breath. Last round of breath work here. And then resume your normal breath and bring one hand to the heart and one hand over the belly. And I invite you to set an intention for tonight's practice. So maybe it's about finding ease in the present moment, or maybe there's something else that speaks to you. And whatever that intention is, on your next inhale, take that intention into the cells and tissues of the body. And on the exhale, release everything else. One more time, inhale. And exhale, sigh it out. And release the hands. And we're going to carefully bend our knees so that our feet are on the floor. And we're going to gently drop our knees over to the left side. You can take your arms out to a T, or you can bring the arms to goalpost position. Getting a little bit of a spinal twist here. Breathe into it. Exhale, releasing everything that you don't need. We're going to stay here for a little bit. So if you find yourself needing to adjust the legs to be a little bit more comfortable, or so that you can feel more stable to relax, don't hesitate to do so. But the goal here is to simply release, to soften. We're not holding on to things like, if you notice your toes are clenching, it could be the smallest little muscles that might be holding on to tension, stress. See if you can find ease with it. Tonight's restorative practice is going to be all about just being in that moment. I don't have to think about where we're going, what we just did. The best way to bring yourself back into this moment is to focus on breathing or take a mantra. On an inhale, carefully unwind, bring the legs back through center. Take your time, and then slowly let them go over to the right side. Be mindful of any props that you might have nearby. And then just settle in on this side. Take your time getting there. We were just on the other side. We held the pose for a little bit. We might notice that as we move over to the other side, there's some tension that's still clinging, because that side had to work a little bit to pull us into that position. Good. I'm trying not to have the microphone in my throat so you guys can hear me, because that's what happens. So, and again, just breathe. Come back to a mantra. Just as we spend a little bit more time on this side. few more rounds of breath. And then very carefully, we're going to move back into center. Good. And then we're going to roll back to the left side just so that we can make our way onto our bellies. All right. So now that we're on our bellies, I'm going to put my microphone back where it is. All right. Sphinx pose. Palms are flat on the floor, elbows are underneath the shoulders-ish. It depends on what feels comfortable for your body. But we're going to spend some time in this pose as a counterbalance to a lot of the forward folds that we tend to do when we're bending over, picking things up, sitting in chairs. This is a great way to bring some balance to the body. And I want you to think about what's happening in your toes for a moment. Are all 5 toes connected to the mat? If not, can you adjust the foot, ankle, whatever, to accommodate each of your toes? And then moving up the legs, squeeze your glutes just enough to press the top of the pelvis into the floor. And then as we travel upward to the shoulders, are the shoulders wanting to hike up towards the ears? If so, pull them down and away. And maybe take your gaze straight ahead or take the gaze down. You can relax the neck this way. Some people like to take the gaze upward. So just kind of explore what works best for you in this case. So yes, we are surrendering, but there still has to be a little bit of activity happening here in order to get the opening in the front of the chest and belly that we're looking for. All right, taking a few more rounds of breath here. On your next exhale, relax the legs. Let your upper body come down. Your elbows are going to flare out. You're going to bring your palms to stack on top of each other. Forehead will come to rest for a little bit of crocodile pose. Also known as Shavasana on your belly. Just take a couple breaths here. Notice what's happening in the body. Notice if anything's talking to you. Maybe you're getting a collective sigh from the various parts of the body that had to open, like the chest, the belly, the tops of the thighs, the ankles. And then very slowly on an inhale, lift the head, bring the hands up under the shoulders, and carefully press up to tabletop and grab your bolster. All right. With our bolster, we are going to take the short edge of the bolster between the knees, big toes touching, and find yourself in a supported child's pose here. So you can bring the arms around the bolster if you'd like. If you want your arms to be just laying on the floor like they usually would, you could do that. Your forehead can either rest on the bolster or onto the side of your face, whatever feels comfortable. If you're wearing glasses, be mindful of those. And just settle in. I want you to think about making those sit bones heavy, having them gravitate towards the heels. Check in with your knees, though. You should never have any kind of discomfort or pain in the knees. Also, some people might be tight in the ankles. So if you need a rolled up blanket underneath those ankles, that is absolutely perfectly fine. Good. We are going to spend a little bit of time in this supported child's pose. So if at any time you feel the need to come out, you can always come out and come to a comfortable seated position. Tune into the breath. Good. We've got about 6 more full rounds of breath in our supported child's pose. On your next inhale, slide the hands up underneath the shoulders and press back up, taking your time. Bolster is going to stay here, but we're going to carefully adjust the legs for mermaid pose. So whichever side you want to start on, doesn't matter. We're going to do both. You can have the top leg resting either in the inner arch of the bottom foot, or you can extend it out more like a pinwheel. We'll carefully twist over our bolster. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Face can either be looking in the opposite direction your knees are going or in the same direction that the knees are going. It's whatever feels comfortable. And so, like for me, it feels more comfortable to have an added block for my head. So you are welcome to do that. So we started our practice with a little bit of twisting because I knew we were going to move into that Sphinx pose. Well, then we came up and we did the child's pose, which is a forward fold. Now we're going to twist to neutralize the spine, get that spinal release, if you will. We will spend a little bit more time here on this side. So if you need to come up and at any time, feel free to do so, but know that you're welcome to practice however you need to for however long you need to. I'm just here to facilitate. Let's take about 6 more rounds of breath. Remember, with each breath, we're softening and surrendering to this present moment as we find ease. On your next inhale, slide the hands up underneath the shoulders. Very slowly, very carefully come upright. And then transition carefully to the other side. Taking your time, there's no need to rush. Sitting up nice and tall when you're ready, when you're in position. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold forward. Finding where you would like to be. And again, your gaze can either be in the same direction or the opposite direction the knees are going. And just breathe here. Noticing what areas are really trying to hold on to tension, and see if you can use the breath to ease that tension away. Good. We're going to take about 6 more full rounds of breath on this side. And on your next inhale, slide the hands up underneath the shoulders and carefully press up. And then from here, we're going to leave this where it is and carefully turn around. We're going to take one more back bend here. We're going to bring that short edge of the bolster up against the small of the back. Bend the knees, bring the feet onto the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release over the bolster. Now the arms can rest alongside the body, palms face up. You could also bring the arms out to a T. This might get a little bit more into the chest and upper shoulders. You can choose to keep the knees bent. You can have one leg straight. You could have both legs straight. This is our supported fish pose. Wherever you choose to be. So if your knees are bent, you can walk your feet to the outer edges of the mat and let the knees collapse inward. This allows your legs to relax. So wherever you choose to be, settle in here and relax. Spend a little bit of time right here. And again, bring your awareness to your breath. You could also bring your awareness to a mantra. Repeated word or phrase that you can focus on. It can be something simple, such as I am calm, or it can be relax or surrender. Be especially aware of how the back is feeling. If at any time, because this is quite a deep back bend, if you ever need to come out of it, we'll just bring the knees back up and then roll off to one side. For good, I want you to check in with your back body and notice, are there any muscle groups that are really holding on to tension? Do we notice if anywhere across the belly or chest we're holding on to tension? Notice the legs and the arms as well. Sometimes, like even our fingers might tighten up, or you might just be noticing that one little muscle in the middle of your shoulder blade is just holding on. See if you can find ease. You're going to spend another 6 breaths here. And on your next inhale, very slowly bend one knee and then the other if you aren't there already. Just roll off to one side slowly, carefully pushing yourself up to a seated position. And we are going to turn our bolster now to be perpendicular to the mat. If you would like to use your blocks for your hands, you are welcome to. We are going to take a supported pigeon pose. One of the big areas that we tend to find a lot of tension is in those hips. So I'm going to use my blocks for my hands. We'll start with the right leg, bring that right leg around to the front of the bolster, walk it over to the left side of the mat, set your right thigh down onto that bolster. You may already be feeling this here. Maybe you stay here. The other option is you can bring your hands back down to the floor, or you can come down onto forearms, onto your block or blocks, and just settle in here. One thing to keep in mind is that the hips like to be uneven in this pose because it makes it more, quote, comfortable. So really see about evening those hips out. You might need to rock from side to side a little bit just to kind of feel the hips out. And then you can kind of feel like, okay, if I press that left hip into the bolster more, I notice that I feel it on that outside right glute more. Or if I draw that right hip down a little bit more into the mat, I feel that stretch more in the glute as well. So just kind of play with it. And then once you have found where you're going to spend your time, You can close the eyes if you'd like, or you can gaze softly over the tip of the nose. You might tune into the breath. Might come back to that mantra. These deep hip openers often release pent-up emotions. Some students can get giggly. Some students can get angry. Some can get sad. And if nothing happens, that's okay too. We're going to hold for another 6 rounds of breath. And when you're ready, come back up onto the hands slowly. Sit off to that right side. Bring that left leg around. Take your time. And let's find our way to where we can bring our feet onto the mat, knees bent. And we'll rock those knees like windshield wipers from side to side. And you might notice there's that delicateness or fragileness in the hip, and that's absolutely what we want. It should go away. Always tells me when I know I need more hip openers. And then when you're ready, we'll reset for the other side. So we'll bring our bolster back onto the mat. We'll set ourselves up if you want to use blocks again. And this time we're going to bring the left leg around. Walk that left leg so that the left foot is over by the right side of the mat. Set your thigh down, set that right hip down onto the bolster. And again, you might feel it up here, so you might stay here. You might choose to come down to the hands or to your blocks. It can be completely different on this side than the other side. Maybe you've got a lot of tension on this side and you didn't on the other, so you might feel it more profoundly. Once you are ready, you're settling in, we're going to just spend some time here. And again, maybe rock from one hip to the other. And just kind of notice, where do you feel that tension? Where do you feel that sensation more? Do we have to bring that right hip down more into the bolster? Do we need to pull that left hip down more into the bolster? And then just breathe with it. In my experience, I find that the hip openers are the ones that my brain just wants so badly to think about other things on. So this is where I really end up coming to use the breath as my anchor in the present. Good breathing. Got about 6 more full rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, very carefully bringing the hands onto the mat, shift the weight over to that right thigh and bring, or left thigh, and bring that right leg around. Take your time, bringing the feet to the mat and windshield wipering those knees. Notice this side was a little bit more or less or about the same as the opposite side. And then we're going to sit onto our bottoms and bring the soles of the feet together. Now, if you know that you tend to round in that low spine, I would sit on either a bolster or the edge of a folded blanket to kind of help you get lift. But if you're fine, you can grab onto the ankles, inhale, lengthen, nice long spine, exhale, hinge and fold any amount until you can't go anymore in the hips. Then you can let the upper back round. And just breathe here. And then slowly and gently come on up. Good. And let's clear our mats. And I want you to have your bolster off to the side where you can pull it underneath you, because we're going to, before we go into Shavasana tonight, we're going to do a seagrass pose. So let's come onto our backs. The bolster is going to be off to whichever side works for you. If you're right-handed, it probably is easier to pull it from that side. We're going to press ourselves up into a bridge and slide that bolster underneath our sacrum. Okay? I'm going to stop talking from my throat and take that microphone out. So once we're here, we can bring the legs up. Now, shoulder stand means we have our legs completely flexed. We don't want that. We want to have a nice bend to our knee, relaxation through the ankles and toes. It's literally just letting gravity do its thing here. Your legs are going to move, which is why it's called seagrass. It's like going with the flow. We're just going to breathe here. So the beauty of seagrass is we're getting the benefits of an inversion, which is reversing the flow of lymphatic fluid, especially since we're heading towards the spring season now. Inversions are really important to help flush out all the gunk that we tend to have with allergies and any other kind of upper respiratory things. And just be with that. Notice, let yourself close your eyes or gaze softly over the tip of the nose. Just notice, how do you feel the movement? Maybe it's a side to side movement. Maybe it's almost an infinity signal or a signal, infinity symbol, or like a figure eight. Maybe it's back and forth. Whatever it is, just kind of be with that. Both legs moving in unison, or do you notice maybe you've got one moving in a different direction at the same time the other one is moving in another direction? We got about 6 more full rounds of breath here in seagrass pose. Good. And we're going to slowly bend the knees first, and then open up through the hips as we drop the feet down, finding grounding on the floor. On an exhale, we're going to squeeze those glutes to lift up off of the bolster and slide it out. And then come on down to the back. Maybe windshield wiper those knees gently from side to side. We're going to take the next 30 seconds to do whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you bring your legs up into happy baby. Maybe you decide to go into a twist. Maybe shoulder stand is still speaking to you. Do whatever you feel. Maybe it's just rocking those knees from side to side or coming into windbreaking pose and rocking those knees. Good. And then when you are ready, we are going to set ourselves up for Shavasana. So at this time, you can choose to use bolsters, blankets, anything you desire. If you've got a couch handy nearby or a wall that you want to put your legs up onto, you could do that. Grab some water, settle in, make those last minute adjustments. Perfect. And take your time getting there. And then once you're there, we'll close the eyes and we'll find stillness. And we'll take a deep breath in together and exhale, sigh it out the mouth. One more time, inhale and exhale. Allow the breath to resume its natural rhythm. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and the forehead. And allow the muscles to rest and relax. Allow the eyes to sink down deep into their sockets, to rest and relax. Allow the muscles of the face and the low jaw to rest and relax. Allow the neck and the shoulders to rest and relax. Allow the upper arms and the forearms to rest and relax. Allow the hands and each individual finger to rest and relax. Moving into the chest and the upper back. Allow the muscles to rest and relax. Allow the belly and the low back to rest and relax. Allow the pelvis, the glutes, and the hips to rest and relax. Allow the tops of the thighs and the hamstrings to rest and relax. Allow the knees and the hollows of the knees to rest and relax. Allow the shins and the calves to rest and relax. Allow the feet and each individual toe to rest and relax. Feel the weight of the body being fully supported, and know that you are safely anchored here. And you can allow your conscious awareness to begin to expand into the space around the body. Noticing sensations and vibrations that surround you. And then maybe allowing your conscious awareness to expand beyond this space into a space beyond this one. Maybe you're lying on a beach with the warm breeze, blue sky, and the sound of the surf. Maybe you're curled up in a cozy chair inside of a log cabin, a crackling fire. Maybe you're in a place you've never been before, but you're excited to explore it. And wherever it is that you choose to be right now, allow yourself the opportunity to be present with that space. Notice what you see. Notice what you hear. Notice what you can feel. Notice what you can smell. And maybe even notice what you can taste. Whenever we have our five senses immersed in a place, we find ourselves in the present. We can simply be. Bring your awareness back into your body, deepening the breath, inviting slow movements like wiggling fingers and toes, flexing and extending wrists and ankles. And just very slowly and organically, bit by bit, reawaken the body. Eventually rolling over onto whichever side feels good to you. And take this opportunity to honor and offer gratitude for your body and everything it does for you each and every day. To honor and offer gratitude for those in your life that love, nurture, and support you. And lastly, but most importantly, to honor and offer gratitude for you, for all that you are, for all the gifts that you bring to this world and the lives that you touch. You are worthy of all things good. Slowly, with as little effort as possible, bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Your eyes may be closed or softly gazing over the tip of the nose. Hands come to Anjali Mudra, prayer in front of the heart. The word namaste means the light in me recognizes, honors, and appreciates the light in each of you. It also means thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. For my friends that are joining electronically, well, we're all that electronic, but on demand, thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.